Good morning and welcome to this Easter service on Sunday, April 17th. My name is Robin Berkeley. I use she, her pronouns, and I've happily been a member of this congregation for over 12 years. Seems like just yesterday, but it's awesome. Thanks, Mary. I serve as president of the congregation, and I also work as a worship associate here. So please join me in welcoming our virtual attendees who are watching through our YouTube channel. So everybody, please wave and say Happy Easter! Happy Easter! If you're a guest and recently started attending our worship, a special welcome to you. We are so glad that you've joined us. We invite you to join us after the service for further fellowship and a little Easter brunch in the worker room. Thank you to Nathan, who spearheaded that, and I know Mary contributed, and a few of us contributed things, eggs. I know Carol and Jeremiah did eggs today, so all right. For those of you viewing or attending for the first time, the First Unitarian Church is currently a very small lay-led congregation located in Alton, Illinois. And I say currently because we have an exciting announcement. We have an agreement with our new minister. Yay! We hope to make a more formal announcement by the beginning of May, I think, and they're going to begin their service to us in July 1st. At the present moment, they are in negotiation with the other congregation that they will be balancing out their service with. And until that's secured, we're not going to rattle anything, and we're just going to keep the name confidential until we are able to make a joint announcement with both the congregations. But yay, I'm going to just take a deep breath. Say thank you to the universe. And also thank you to the board and to the search committee for all of their hard work on that. We are just so blessed to have this person, and I'm very excited. We welcome everyone to this home of comfort, spirit, justice, and hope, and we are Unitarian Universalists. The title of our service today is Easter, Hope After Disaster, and was designed by the Reverend Claudia Hall. I made a few tweaks, but the essence of the service is hers, so I'm grateful for her support and continued guidance to this congregation. She's been helping us for the last 2 years as a contract support and per diem minister for us. Okay. We open the service with a prelude by our pianist, Julia. Thank you, Joy. An important ritual in the Unitarian Universalist faith is the lighting of our chalice. Unitarian Universalists have many different interpretations of the flaming chalice, including the light of reason, the warmth of community, and the flame of hope. Join me in celebrating all of these reasons and more. Together, please recite our unison words for the chalice lighting. We hallow this time together to kindling the lamp of our heritage. Okay. We welcome you. We know you come here for different reasons, to find community, to seek your spiritual and personal truths, to question, to nurture your heart and soul, to be nurtured, to explore new ideas, to find comfort, and perhaps to find the answers to some of your bigger questions. We welcome you. We know you come from different places, different religions, different beliefs, different backgrounds. We hope you will find comfort, connection, challenge, and love here. We hope you will find ways to provide outreach to others in our congregation, in our local community, and in the world. Today is Easter Sunday, a day that means many things to many people. For many, it celebrates the physical revival of their deity. For others, it is a day for family and friends. For yet others, it is a reminder that their faith is not given the same attention as others. So it is a day where they can feel like they are excluded and have fallen through the cracks. Whatever Easter means to you, I invite you to look and see the various religious traditions that have made sense of tragedy, including Christianity, and I hope you will find in today's service some hope for a world very full of difficulty and anguish. Our opening hymn is number 266, Now the Green Blade Riseth, and I invite you to rise in body or spirit to sing along. It's also in the gray hymnal if you want to look at that. Every 33 years, this day sees a convergence of major holidays for several religions: Passover, Easter, Ramadan, and holidays for those in the Baha'i faith, among others. It seems today is also a great UU kind of day because of this convergence of so many different holidays aligning, and which aligns beautifully with our principles. And today's sermon aligns with two in particular. Number 3, the acceptance of one another and encouragement to spiritual growth in our congregations. And number 4, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. As we explore and come to better understand the sources of our faith, let today be a reminder that it is love and a desire to care for others that connects all of these holidays and faith traditions, and that they converge here in this sacred space to remind us that the world is small and the opportunities are boundless. In our pre-COVID days, we honored our joys and sorrows by placing stones in a bowl of water representing the thoughts and needs of those who are here and those who cannot be with us. We hope one day to return to that ritual, but in the meantime, we offer this time for people to share their joys and sorrows verbally and through typed messages on the YouTube channel. You're also encouraged to come forward and light one of the candles placed before the podium. Please come up from on my left over here, light the candle, and then exit here to my right. Whatever method resonates for you, please share your joys and sorrows, and then we will follow with a moment of silent reflection. Any announcements? Anybody want to share joy and sorrow? For Ukraine today, always. Specifically Mariupol, they're surrounded. and we want them to survive. Yes, you're welcome to come on up. Sorry. We're going to have a story today, a Time for All Ages story called The Hike by T. Albert. And I found this on a website called monkeypen.com. It is a free children's book website, and people are allowed to use it for educational purposes. So we are doing that today to educate. Mandy was lucky, as she and her mother lived with her grandparents, and she liked nothing better than to spend time with her grandfather. You see, he was always making something, and she enjoyed watching, learning, and sometimes even helping him finish what he was doing, whatever he was doing. Grandfather, what are you building in your workshop today? Mandy asked. She giggled as she said, It looks like you're playing with 2 long sticks. Well, Mandy, he said, I'm going to make 2 walking sticks with your help, one for you and one for me, and then I have a surprise. All right, Mandy shrieked. Where do I start? After some time, Mandy, with her grandfather's help, finished the walking sticks. They were 2 of the most beautiful walking sticks she had ever seen. With the bark removed, they were sanded smooth, and each had a funny-looking face carved in them. These are really nice, Mandy said, but just what do we do with them? Ah, that is the surprise, granddaughter, he replied. Tomorrow morning we are going on a hike in the woods, and these walking sticks will help make the hike easier. So now it is time to clean up and go to sleep so that we are well rested for the hike. The next morning, Mandy did not need an alarm to wake up. She was up and dressed and ready to go as the sun rose and the day began. I do not understand that, child, because I do not like mornings, but that's good. Sorry, that was my little extra added bonus there. She went to the kitchen and saw that her grandfather was busy packing sandwiches, water, snacks, and other items into their backpacks. It looks like we're going to be hiking for a long time, Mandy said. It will be an all-day hike, he replied. I think we have everything, so grab your walking stick and let's go. What about breakfast, Mandy said. Oh, did I forget to mention that we're going to stop and have breakfast at a diner? He said with a smile. Their journey began. After a great breakfast, excuse me, and a long drive, they arrived at the base of a mountain and the beginning of the trail. This is beautiful, Mandy said. Just where are we hiking? To the very top of the mountain, where we will have lunch, rest, maybe take a swim, and then hike back down, he replied. Swim, Mandy said excitedly. Is there a lake at the top of the mountain? Yes, her grandfather replied. There was a pond surrounded by big flat rocks. It was carved from the mountain during the last ice age and is filled with clear, cold water. Wow, was all Mandy could say. As they hiked up the mountain, Mandy asked many, many questions. What kind of tree is that? How high are we? Are there bears out there? Are there any other people up here? What do we do if we get lost? Are there snakes? And of course, are we there yet? Her grandfather answered all those questions the best that he could and explained that they were in a very natural area. Not many people, all sorts of wildlife, even bears. He helped her understand and respect the natural beauty around them, particularly the animals. He taught her how to use a compass and the things to help them be safer while they hiked. Like before stepping over a log, you put your walking stick on the other side to let any animal, like a snake, know you're there. Whistle a song or make some noise to let the bigger animals know you're in the area. In a soft voice, her grandfather said, Mandy, there are a few things to remember when you are hiking, or anywhere for that matter. The earth is our mother. Take care of her. All life is sacred. Treat all life with respect. Take from the earth what is needed and nothing more. Enjoy your journey, but leave no tracks. As they hiked a little farther, the forest opened, and Mandy saw the pond surrounded by large, flat rocks. They had arrived, and it was almost like being in a different world. Mandy picked up a large rock that extended out into the water for them to rest on. It had been warmed by the sun and was the perfect place for lunch. As her grandfather unpacked the food, she leaned over and wiggled her fingers in the cold water. Immediately, several small fish came by and nibbled at her fingers. She shrieked in surprise, and then, realizing the fish were just curious, placed her hand back in the water and watched as the fish darted around her fingers. She laughed and played with the fish until her grandfather said, "Time for lunch." After lunch and a resting period, they took a swim. The water was deep, and Mandy couldn't reach the bottom no matter how hard she tried. She giggled each time a curious fish nibbled at her body and watched a deer come down to have a drink. It was a wonderful day, and she was saddened when she heard her grandfather say, Mandy, it's time to dry off and begin the hike down to the car. After making sure everything was just as it was when they arrived, they began their hike down the mountain. After a short time, Mandy asked, Grandfather, can we take a different trail down the mountain? I don't see why not, he replied, and after a short time, the trail began blending into the surrounding brush and then disappeared. I'm scared, Mandy said. I think we're lost. No, we're not lost, her grandfather said, but we aren't on a trail, so we will have to continue hiking down the mountain in the direction of the car. Just enjoy the surroundings and being together on our first hiking adventure. As they continued down, Mandy said, Grandfather, I have a problem at school and I don't know who to talk to. Talk to me, he said. I'd like to, but you are my grandfather, and you may get angry because you are family and not, well, like a friend. Now, Mandy's grandfather had to do some serious thinking after all. She was right that as her grandfather, he may get angry or his feelings hurt, but she needed a big person as a friend. Mandy, he said in a serious tone, if I were to promise that anything we talked about would stay between us and that I would not get angry or talk to you as your grandfather, but rather as an old friend, would you talk to me? Is that a promise? She asked. Yes, he said, and as you know, I have never broken a promise to you. She gave him a big hug and began to talk. Soon they were at the bottom of the mountain and packing the car. Before leaving, her grandfather thought for a moment and said, Granddaughter, anytime you need me as your friend and not as your grandfather, pick up your walking stick and ask to go on a hike. It will be our secret code. This was the best day ever, Mandy said. I was with my grandfather, my new best friend, and I have a talking and walking stick. The end. I love that little story because, as you know, next week is Earth Day, so that's kind of exciting. And also, I love the intergenerational nature of the story, the idea that old and young can connect and be together. Oops, there we go. In a really beautiful way, and it doesn't have to be this authoritarian thing. It just has to be this love and connection. So let's hope that story will resonate for us, as we continue through our days, as we deal, for those of us that are older, dealing with young people, and for our young people to know that they can turn to the older people in their lives for love and support. Okay, our next hymn is number 270, O Day of Light and Gladness. Pushing ourselves with a few new songs here, but we're getting there, guys. Okay. Today's reading is I Need the Resurrection by Kara Root. I need the resurrection because my sister is sick and can't afford insurance. Because I've told a weeping Haitian mom, no, I can't take your son home with me. Because I've been rushed off a Jerusalem street so a robot could blow up a bag that could have blown us up. Because I've exploded in rage and watched their tiny faces cloud with hurt. Because evil is pervasive and I participate. I need the resurrection because it promises that in the end, all wrongs are made right, death loses, hope triumphs, and life and love prevail. I really like that reading today because, as some of you know, my sister is sick. She has terminal breast cancer. I've been to Israel during the Intifada. Clearly, there was issues there. There were times I had to run for safety. And to say that I have not exploded in rage at my children would be a lie. It happens, and I participate. But I'm trying to hold this day as something beautiful, as a way of thinking about renewal and new beginnings. So we'll go from there. So the sermon today. Good morning, everyone, and may the hope of a new life be planted in all of your hearts this day. I personally have an uneasy relationship with Easter. I was raised Catholic, but I have never really fully connected to the resurrection story as a Christian. It was all about the candy and the Easter bunny, but I struggled with that resurrection story. Lest you think that it was just, oh, well, they're just being kids. You were just a kid. My younger siblings got it. I just never did. It never really resonated for me. I'm not really sure why, but I guess that's why I sit here in a Unitarian Universalist church, and I'm really comfortable here because it's an important story, but it's not the be-all and end-all for me. It's part of this larger story of things that I find is of value. And it's through the eyes of that UU, of being a UU, that I'm working to a better understanding of the sources of our faith and to embrace embrace them to grow my own spirituality. Today's sermon is really meaningful for me because it explores the resurrection story through the eyes of a UU. The sermon, which was developed by Reverend Claudia Hall, comes from her perspective as both a Unitarian Universalist as well as a Jewish priestess. And I'm honored to deliver her words to you today. Most people know that Jews don't believe that Jesus is the Messiah, or was the Messiah, but not as many people know why that is. Even fewer folks realize that the idea of a physical resurrection is actually a Jewish concept, and one that many Jews believe strongly in to this day. I know in this church there are a range of feelings and beliefs on this topic, and I wanted to offer everyone here something, whether you believe in Jesus as the Christ, or if you think there is no God at all, or something somewhere in between. So today I'm going to explore the idea of hope after disaster and see what various religions have taught us about how to cope when everything has collapsed around you. To begin, Jews have always been a minority and a persecuted religion. So many Jews were killed in pogroms, invasions, and other mass casualty events that they have sought hope in supernatural intervention. The prophet Ezekiel has a vision of a field of bones that God restored to life, and the early rabbis taught that this meant God still cared, and that in the end all of those faithful who died would be restored to life. Bodily resurrection became a core tenet of the faith, so much so that the medieval scholar Maimonides listed it as one of the mandatory beliefs for Jews. The idea was that God acted in history and in this world, and that when the time was right, God would set things straight. The good would be restored and the wicked would not, so that all the good people could enjoy a world that was a restored paradise. After this restoration, a king would come to the people who was God's chosen one and rule the world in peace. This is the Jewish concept of Messiah. And today there are many who pray for the Messiah to come, and there are others who pray for the Messianic age, although they don't necessarily take the ideas literally. Since Jesus and all his followers were Jews, they had this belief in a restored world and a chosen king to rule them. And many scholars think that Judas's betrayal of Jesus was actually done out of a desire to push Jesus into overthrowing Rome with his supernatural power. However, instead of Jesus restoring the world, he was murdered by Rome. This was the ultimate despair for his followers, since he was supposed to overthrow Rome, not be killed by them. Yet after he was buried, something happened. To this day, people debate whether he was physically resurrected, whether his followers had a dream or vision, or if they just found the strength to carry on. But the ideal of an earthly resurrection was centered on Jesus, and Christians around the world believe that his death and restoration are the sign that God will overcome all evils in time. For Christians, hope from despair looks like the resurrection of Jesus. The Apostle Paul says, "Death, where is thy victory? O death, where is thy sting?" If you believe that death is not an end, but a pause, then you can have hope that evil will not triumph, but will instead be overcome at some time. I love that sound. Grief is mitigated by the idea that you will be reunited with your loved ones, and the horrors of injustice are balanced by the idea that in the end, things will work out in your favor. While Jews, Christians, and Muslims disagree about how God's plan will work out, for the majority of them, the idea that God has a plan and that God's plan in the end will overcome evil is the core of how these faiths handle despair. In the Eastern religions, the idea of karma is what brings hope from despair. It is a different concept, but still holds that evil will be overcome in the end. Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism, and Jainism, along with their dozens of denominations and subgroups, generally hold that those who live rightly in this life will have a favorable rebirth and can eventually break the cycle of reincarnation and experience a formless bliss created by union with the infinite. The details of what a good life is differ, but there is a core belief that when people do good, they can advance because karma is a true judge, meting out what each life it deserves. Additionally, in this life, when bad things happen, you can rest in the idea that your soul is being purified in some way, either for past misdeeds or to advance you farther along the cycle. Karma provides hope from despair by reminding everyone that experiences are impermanent and fleeting, but the actions ones take are vitally important to the disposition of your soul. Finally, we come to humanism, a core system of belief in Unitarian Universalist churches to this day. Humanism teaches that our hope lies in the words and deeds not only of saviors and prophets, but in the words and deeds of every ordinary person. It tells us that we are all of deep worth and that we have the power to overcome whatever tragedy we encounter through psychological traits like resilience, creation of personal meaning, and the desire to set a good example for future generations. In humanism, there may not be a God who will set things right in the end, and there may not be a truly impartial judge who allots rewards and punishments to each soul. But there is a moral order in a sense that if and when humanity works together, that they can overcome any trauma or horror that we face. These three approaches are very different. One has a God who is above and beyond humanity, but who actively works to create an ideal world in whom you can trust. For God is good and will ultimately triumph over evil. Another sees justice as a natural law of the universe and says whether or not there are divine beings who act on your behalf, there's a rule as implacable as the speed of light that assesses souls and offers hope for progress and giving meaning to difficult times. The third option offers less of a rosy picture because there may not be a divine or universal concept of justice, but it maintains optimism about the human condition and says while things are not just now, they can be. As long as people are willing to vision and work for a better future, there is hope. Whichever of these strands of faith you pull on, whichever camp you find yourself in today, I pray that you will know the certainty of hope after whatever causes you to despair. So long as we gather together, sing and pray, and work towards justice and a better world for all, there is hope. Easter is the story of hope after suffering death and hope after deepest despair. My prayer for you today and every day is that you can find hope in your dark places. Amen, and blessed be. Our final hymn today is number 1060, as we sing of hope and joy. In the Teal hymnal, thank you. I apologize. Can't do this without joy. We offer a gentle reminder that this community of faith is supported only by your giving. Stewardship is more than just financial donations, but it is also about donating time and talent to help our church. If you can't write a check, please help our church survive and thrive by offering your time to help the church. Please donate as you can with your time, talent, and treasure. All are needed for our church to prosper. Jerry's going to pass around the offertory plate. You can also mail your financial gift to First Unitarian Church, P.O. Box 494, Alton, Illinois 62002. Or you can give electronically by searching for the First Unitarian Church of Alton on the Givelify app or via the link on our webpage. As well, you can give through PayPal if you prefer. If you're willing to donate your time and talent, please contact a board member, me, Mary, a number of other people out here, Alex, Nathan. Well, Nathan's not on the board. Mary and Pat, thank you. Sorry. We're all over the place, so just ask. We'll find somebody for you to help you. So let us know what you can do to help. Give it what you will and what you're able, for you are a generous people. Please join me in our offering prayer. May this offering equip us to inspire love and seek justice. So we've got lots of announcements, as some of you may have heard already. As I already said in the beginning, we have secured a new minister who will be starting with us for July 1st. We will be revealing the name hopefully by the beginning of May in a joint announcement with the other congregation that they are going to be serving. So yay for that. We're excited. Number 2, if you're a visitor and would like to receive our church's monthly newsletter and weekly information flyer by email, or want more information about the church, please fill out the visitor card found at the visitor information table by the windows in the fellowship hall, so they can go in there, back wall, and put the card in the basket on the table. If you want a name badge made for you, please fill out one of the blue name tag request forms on that visitor table and put the form in the basket. Okay, given that we're going to have a new minister, we thought it might be nice to sort of boost that minister's fund for them, because they use that at their discretion to support people in the community. Currently, there's about $130 in there, and I'd really like to see it to get a little closer, maybe to $1,000 if we can. So we've got a few months to do that. But if you would like to make just a donation that's specifically targeted to the minister's fund, please do that either through the PayPal or Givelify app, or just put your cash in an envelope that says Minister's Fund, and we'll make sure that it gets allocated properly. We have Fourth Saturday coming up, not this Saturday, but it'll be the one after. So Fourth Saturday, for those of you that are new, we provide personal care items at a cute little store downstairs. In the lower level, people come and they can choose a number of items for them to take care of, things like toilet paper and soap and shampoo and cleaning products. And it helps make those SNAP dollars stretch a little further because it's free, and this way people don't have to worry about taking money out of their pocket to take care of some of the things that they really need to make ends meet. So we've been doing this for, goodness gracious, 10 years, more easily. And so we are obviously continuing that program. If you'd like to volunteer to help with the distribution, let us know, and we'll get you the details and connect you with the coordinator for that. There is a need to do some cleanup now that we're going to have a new minister. Obviously, our church office, which only board members are able to access that, our church office needs to be cleaned up, but we also need the minister's office cleaned up. We need some other places around here cleaned up. We need outside, like Mary, right? Got a lot of gardening to do out there. She's like, yes, aye. So we would like to set up a work day to do this as soon as we can. I don't know, maybe in May sometime. Trying to find time to do that, maybe May Day, maybe that first weekend in May or something along that line. Mother's Day is coming up, so and our flower communion. So I think we'll try to get a date out there on the calendar for people and announce when we're going to do it. And we really would we'll let you know what different things are. If anybody can choose just one place that they would clean up, we could get a handful of people to come and do that. This would help us tremendously. So when our new minister walks in the door, it's as spit shiny clean as we can make it. So that's the goal there. On the notion of cleanup, on this Saturday on the 23rd, there's an Alton cleanup. I'm happy to go and be a part of that if anybody else wants to participate in that with the community, cleaning up the local area. Let me know and we can set up a time and a group that can do that work. Next week, Wayne Pulich is going to be in the pulpit to talk about Earth Day. Are there any other messages that I have missed? Yes, go for it. Oh, there's going to be an egg hunt. Very small egg hunt coming up. So our little ones will enjoy that. Awesome. Did you help with the eggs too? You helped with the eggs too, didn't you, Jeremiah? Thank you. Jeremiah helped make the eggs, so we'll have some fun with that, with the kids in the worker room. So the worker room, WUERKER, is right behind us. All right. Anything else? Got it all? All right. So I'm going to invite you. My extinguisher went. I'm going to invite you to join me in reciting our prayer as we extinguish the chalice. The light of truth and meaning cannot be put out. We are keepers of this flame until we meet again. Okay. Our closing words today. May you know hope after despair, love after heartbreak, joy after mourning. May you see in the faces of others the connection you need to carry on, and may they see that same holy spark of hope in you. Let us now go forth from this place, refreshed in spirit, deepened in our conviction, inspired by our compassion to love and serve the world and its people. The service begins when the service ends. Go in peace and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Please join us for a little Easter brunch in the worker room as soon as our prelude is over. You're welcome to pick up and leave now.